Africa Today, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahawa Kajur, and in the headlines. The 2021-2022 budget to prioritize human capital development security. The Katikkiro of Buganda urges people to donate blood. Egypt, Sudan conclude joint military drill amid tensions with Ethiopia. On African Parliament, elections suspended after second day of disorder. And in our sports today, She Maroons reigns and promotion to FUFA Women's Super League. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Now, let's have the news in detail. The Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has called upon the people of Buganda to support the Kingdom's project of blood donation in order to save the lives of many Ugandans. He said this during a meeting with Uganda Blood Transfusion Services at Bulange Mengo, Kampala. Our reporter has more.
The Katikkiro of Buganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, has called upon people of Buganda to donate blood in order to save lives of Ugandans.
Bwetyo byogera okwowola bonna abatawanga musaayi okuvaayo babulwe enteekateeka bw'eneebezeemu okulangirirwa ndowooza nze n'asooka kulayini bannakazadde bwenjogera tukubaawo nakazadde kati alimu musanya eyeetaaga omusaayi waliwo n'abantu abalala bangi abalina endwadde ezibeetaagisa okubawa omusaayi tugambe nga bannalubiri era njagala okubakakasa ti obwakabaka bujja kugenda mu maaso n'okuwagira enteekateeka ezikwata ku bulamu bw'abantu n'emirimu gyamu.
He said this during the meeting with the Uganda Blood Transfusion Service at Bulange Mengo.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on, the 2021-2022 budget to prioritize human capital development security. According to data from the Finance Ministry that was today circulated by the Government Citizen Interaction Center, this will include skilling Ugandans, enhancing security and wealth creation. We have the report.
According to data from the Finance Ministry that was today circulated by the Government Citizen International Center, this will specifically include skilling Ugandans, enhancing security and wealth creation. According to the 2021-2022 national budget priorities and allocations, human capital development was allocated in 7.76 trillion, while government and security was given 6.69 trillion shillings. Integrated transport infrastructure and services was allocated 5.07 trillions, while 1.68 trillions was allocated to agro-industrialization, according to information from GCIC. The data, which was also shared on the GCIC Twitter account, is aimed at ensuring that Ugandans know their budget. Information comes at a time when the country is preparing to receive the 2021-2022 national budget. This will be preceded by the State of the Nation address by President Yoweri Museveni this Friday, 14th June.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now moving on, Sorority and Bukedia, one of the commonest foods on the roadside are sweet potatoes. Some are sold in metallic tins and others are sold in plastic jerrycans. There are also sacks on the roadside too, which is commonest consumed foods in Uganda. Now let's take a look at the sweet potatoes.
Immaculate Adong from Kumi says she maintains 2 acres of sweet potatoes every season. Most of her neighbors grow sweet potatoes. It is not surprising that Teso region has one of the lowest stunting and wasting figures in Uganda. Teso has the largest concentration of orange fresh sweet potato, followed by the districts of Mpigi, Gomba and Kalungu in the central region. According to the 2020 Global Hunger Index, whereas the national stunting rate is at 29%, in Teso it is only 14%, and whereas the wasting rate is 27% nationally, it is just 2.2% in Teso. According to the 2020 Global Hunger Index, Uganda has well documented the problem of micronutrient deficiencies. Information indicates that the major micronutrient deficiencies relate to a lack of sufficient intake of vitamin A, iron and iodine from the local diet. Sweet potatoes, matoke, cassava and maize flour are the commonest consumed foods in Uganda. About 10 years ago, efforts to fortify sweet potatoes with vitamin C commenced. It was discovered that many parts of the country consume sweet potatoes, and this is why researchers decided to add more nutrients to sweet potatoes, which is a clever way of introducing GMO potatoes in Uganda.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with more news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Now moving on, in our international news, members of the Sudanese and Egyptian armed forces that took part in the Guardians of the Nile joint military drill in Sudan's southern Kordofan state have wrapped up the 6 days of war held against a backdrop of rising tension with Ethiopia. Our reporter has more.
Military maneuvers, which involved naval and air force units, as well as ground troops, were intended to upgrade the joint capabilities and enhance harmony between the two countries. According to the Egyptian Chief of Staff, General Mohammad Farid, the military exercise is being conducted amid challenges and threats and the possibility of their escalation. Police Chief of Staff from the countries made no direct mention of Ethiopia in their comments. They made it clear that the drills were meant to send a message to Addis Ababa and that they are ready to intervene militarily against the dam if needed. Both Cairo and Khartoum have on multiple occasions expressed their concern in the past, stating that the Renaissance Dam project will reduce their share of the river's water and severely damage their economies.
Well, the imposing of sanctions by Mixed on Mali in reaction to the second coup in 9 months after Colonel Assimi Goïta assumed control of West African nation has brought mixed reactions across the globe. Let's take a look at the story.
According to Yusuf, the legal advisor of the junta leader, ECOWAS hides behind the application of the Protocol on Good Governance and Democracy, while the same body has disregarded the content of its texts in relation to some neighboring countries, citing an example of Côte d'Ivoire where the protocol has not been respected. In this interview granted to the media, the influential president of a commission of the National Transitional Council also denies the term coup d'etat. Concerning the holding of elections in 2022 as promised by the junta, after ousting then-President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta in August 2020, Yusuf Coulibaly is more skeptical. He said that for them to organize the elections would be a real challenge, thinking that 9 months is not enough time to achieve all the work they have to do to achieve stable, credible and uncontested elections. Amidst these statements, the regional body ECOWAS is insisting that elections be held on February 27, 2022.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now about the Pan-African Parliament for the second day in a row in Midrand, Johannesburg, leadership elections for the Pan-African Parliament once again saw lawmakers butt heads over the approach to choosing the presidency and deciding whether the presidency should be rotated by region. Let's have the report.
In light of the unproductive disagreement, the sitting of the Pan-African Parliament was suspended, lights were turned off and the members of Parliament were asked to leave. The clerk of the Pan-African Parliament, Mr. V.P. Harawa, who suspended the sitting, said that members of Pan-African Parliament needed time to calm down before they could do anything. Formed in 2004, the Pan-African Parliament, whose members are elected through the national legislatures, sits for 3 weeks twice a year at its headquarters in Midrand, located between the South African capital Pretoria and Johannesburg. The Assembly is the legislative branch of the Pan-African Union, but in reality it is merely a consultative body.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, the head of the Polisario Front and the president of the Sahrawi Democratic Arab Republic, His Excellency Brahim Ghali, testified on Tuesday via video conference between an investigating magistrate in Madrid to answer allegations of torture and genocide. We have the report. Through his attorney Manuel Ole, President Brahim Ghali, who is in hospital in Spain, where he was admitted last month for COVID-19, explained that as Foreign Affairs Minister during that time, as well as Minister for Defense, he did not participate in any action or behavior that have been put against him by his accusers, Morocco. Manuel Ole further stated that it has been demonstrated during his declaration that all the acts that have been charged against him are absolutely and strongly uncertain and false, which could be Morocco's efforts to discredit the Polisario Front. Prosecution lawyer Maria Jo Melagon said that this case was not political. It is not as alleged by the defense side. His Excellency Brahim Ghali arrived in Spain with an Algerian diplomatic passport with the consent of the Spanish government. Madrid agreed to treat His Excellency Ghali as a favor to Algeria, its main supplier of natural gas, according to some sources. His presence in Spain has since infuriated Morocco and triggered a diplomatic crisis between the two countries, which have been cooperating in fighting terrorism, drug smuggling, and migration into Europe. Now, in a business news today, Greenpeace has the producers of fish meals and fish oil for European and Asian industries are depriving West Africans of a significant part of their diet and contributing to the plundering of fishery resources. Let's have the report.
According to a report published on Tuesday, the production of fish meal and fish oil in this region of the continent has increased from 13,000 tons in 2010 to 170,000 tons in 2019, which has been sounding the alarm for several years. Greenpeace noted that according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the main species used for fish meal and oil production, especially the sardines, are being overexploited. The report reveals how more than 500,000 tons of small pelagic fish are extracted every year along the coast of West Africa and converted into feed for aqua and agriculture farming, dietary supplements, cosmetics and pet food products outside the African continent. The governments of Mauritania, Senegal and the Gambia have so far failed to properly manage their common small pelagic fish resource, as well as to take the appropriate measures to ensure the right to food and livelihood for their impacted communities, according to the report.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, away from business, in Africa Today Health, the Minister of Public Health in Burundi, Thadi Ndikumana, has said that Burundi is reopening its Gatumba border with the Democratic Republic of Congo from the town of Uvira following a long period of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Our reporter has more.
According to Thadi Ndikumana, the Burundian Minister of Public Health, any case that comes in is screened, minimizing the risk in relation to the quarantine at Bujumbura International Airport, where they have issued recommendations that have been submitted to the high authority awaiting the response. According to the local media, all foreigners entering Burundi through the Gatumba border will have to pay $30 for the COVID-19 test, while Congolese living in Burundi will be allowed to return to the DRC through this border free of charge. Chantal Nsabimana, a Burundian returning home after being stranded in DRC, expressed that they have been blocked for a year and 3 months from leaving the DRC because the borders were closed. The Gatumba border was closed in March 2020 as part of the fight against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, on the DRC side, The Kavimvira border has been reopened since August 2020.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, away from health in Africa Today Sports, the She Maroons and the Rains SS Women Football Club are the two teams that have earned promotion to the FUFA Women Super League following a successful expedition in the FUFA Women Elite League, the second division. Let's have the report.
On Tuesday, the two teams, She Maroons and Rains SS Women Football Club, won their respective semi-final games to secure the two slots in the next season's FUFA Women's Super League. Rains SS in the first semi-final overcame Munyaraguru Girls 4-3 in a closely contested affair through a tense penalty shootout after ending goalless in the normal time. Halima Katishabe and Adela Aine missed for Munyaraguru, while Florence Nakalule, on the other hand, failed to find target for Rains Women Football Club. Coach Brighton Nyans indicated the target has been achieved and indicated that the success delayed to Richard Byamukama, who passed on in March. In the second semi-final, She Maroons fought hard to edge past Wakiso Hills through Kauthura Naruima in the first half strike. She Maroons and Rains Women Football Club will face on Thursday to determine the champion, while Wakiso Hills and Munyaruguru Girls will play in the third place playoff. Katende Chabasinga reporting for TV Africa.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, before we end our bulletin, let's have a recap of our top stories. The 2021-2022 budget to prioritize human capital development security. The Katikiro of Buganda urges people to donate blood. Egypt, Sudan conclude joint military drill amid tensions with Ethiopia. On African Parliament, elections suspended after second day of disorder. And in our sports today, She Maroons, Rains and promotion to FUFA Women's Super League. That was the news on TV Africa. Thank you so much for joining us from where we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.
This is Africa, and that was the news.